Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of The Emotional Body. This will be the next one in the series, and there's a little bit different format this time around. As you can see, the camera is facing me directly. Um, Monsour is away visiting family in California, so we had planned on canceling the channel session and waiting till he gets back. But speaking with Spirit, they were still willing to go ahead and come through. So this will be the first time I'm attempting to channel for them with no one in the room. We'll see how that works. It should be the same, but sometimes it's not. So at this point, I will step out of the way and let the meeting begin. Greetings, brothers and sisters. And so we begin. Last week, or last episode, we spoke about the emotional body, and there were certain points that we touched upon that we wish to bring up so that we have a clear foundation to set the new information upon. One of the most striking things that we said that we want to bring your attention to is that what you need, we had explained to Monsour, you don't have. We had been describing a technique, a discipline, a process, and explained to him that he was not capable of doing it. This is an important concept, one that we wish to bring to your attention and make clear, because it is going to continue to occur. That statement, that theme within these teachings. Why would Spirit bring up a concept and then clearly state you are not capable of doing it? According to New Age belief, you are capable of anything. It is possible for you to create anything. If you want abundance, you may have it. If you want a new home, you may have it. So why would we say you are not capable of the process that we are describing? It is an important question, and one that should be asked, one that should be brought up. Within the concepts, within the first set of meetings that we did, a foundation was laid, if you will, a language between us and you. The first part of the series was us establishing a language in which we can communicate. And perhaps that seems silly, because clearly we were using English as our means of communication. We do use other languages when we channel. A point of interest, one that we have shared with our son. He is not the only vessel that we channel through. There are several. An interesting fact, we channel through two of his lives. This one in the present, and one of his past lives. And sometimes simultaneously. And so, obviously, we can use many languages in which to communicate. So understand, it is not about the type of language that we are using. The issue we have is using that language to reach an understanding with you, a broader perspective as possible for an audience, using terminologies to the words that your mind can comprehend, and then using that comprehension and building a staircase, one step after another, to the concept that we are explaining. We are taking perceptions in the way that we experience them, a state of being, and transcribing it to a language of action, a language of doing, not being, doing, and explaining being. So it is like taking, if you will, our language, retranslating it into yours, communicating with you, and then teaching you to communicate your language into ours, so comprehension may occur. And so the first set of the series was us establishing communication with you, and by explaining concepts so that we have terms and meanings to use, to build upon. That was the first set of the lesson. And within it was explaining concepts of creation, concepts of the mind, concepts in the way it works, and how it occurs that you start off on your journey and always seem to continually end up in the same place. Certain physical things change, certainly. But the heart of the matter always seems to stay the same. There was a point through the first set of the meetings that Monsour reached a conclusion, an understanding, an epiphany, if you will, that was actually very important. He had reached a state of acceptance with his mind as he sees it. And the point that he reached was the statement, no matter what I do with it, I can't fix this. And so it is what it is. Your culture does not like such statements because you believe you can always make it better. You can always fix it. You can always do something to change it. And yet, how many of you come to the conclusion at some point in time, that nagging feeling that does not go away, that says, there has to be something more to this. There has to be a reason. This can't just be it. And many of you have come to the point of acceptance, not of the beauty that lays before you, but of the limitations and the hardships that occur in life. You accept them. In fact, your verbiage clearly describes that this is life. It is what you can expect. It is how it works. It is normal. Is it? Is it normal? Because there have been clear demonstrations within your biosphere of individuals that have proved that is not the case. Saint Francis of Assisi, Jesus of the Christ, the Buddha, and so many others, and even modern day ones that are currently still writing books as we speak, clearly have reached a state of mind that proves there's something more. So what if there is, but you just don't understand how to reach it? You don't understand how to tap it. You don't understand how to bring it into being. And we go back to Monsour's point of realization. Because again, in your world, it would seem like a horrible place to be. But it is the best place to be. It is the best place to be. The realization that for everything that you are aware of, you don't have the answers to solve the problems. That doesn't take away what you have gained from knowledge and experience of living life. The changes that you have made, the victories that you have won, bettering your job, moving into a better neighborhood so that you can safely raise the kids. Give them the opportunity that you never had, or more of an opportunity than what was present for you. All of the little things that you have gained. But that is not what we're talking about. We are talking about your peace of mind. And we bring up the example of going hiking and reaching the top of the mountain and seeing the vastness that is before you, that is your planet. And the beauty startles you, and you lose yourself in the moment. And the thoughts and the emotions disappear. And there is just the awareness of the openness and the beauty that sits before you. There is peace. There is peace. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be the dramatic of getting to the mount to have the experience. Perhaps you experienced it when you went on your porch in the morning to have a cup of coffee. Or you were driving from point A to point B and it just occurred. You were checking out at the supermarket and there was a line and you were waiting and it just occurred. Peace. The difference is that you were being versus using time and judging what you have to do, and if you did it good enough, how you should have done it, what you need to do, what you should have done, what you could have done, whether that energy is directed within or without or going back and forth between who you are projecting it on. That is not being. So what is this state of being? And why is it so important that we stress it over and over again? We call it connecting. Connecting to what? And this is when we say, the illusion of your higher self. There is no higher self. There is only mind. And just because you've taken your attention off of it does not make it separate from you. But you believe it is. You certainly do believe it is separate from you. Because to say that it was whole is to be able to speak the line, we are all divine, with no guilt and no shame. Can you honestly do so? Consider yourself divine. Because until you do, you can't extend it to your brothers and sisters. It is impossible. You must allow it to flow through. And we have said in the previous meetings that the only difference between us is our perceptions of being. Everything you have now is exactly what you will have when you liberate. The supposed liberation. The only difference is how you will perceive it. Liberation is a funny word. It means to free something that is chained, that is blocked, that is limited. What is it, do you think, you are liberating? Something obviously must be liberated, or there would not be the word liberation. So what is it that is being liberated? Within this group that channels through, there are beings that had physical life. Woman of the Forest is one of them. In fact, her last physical life was with the channel in Greece. That does not mean she could not come back and retake a body. Certainly, she can choose to do so. But she doesn't have to. She's not pulled towards that experience. She was, as you would use a term, the word liberated. Liberated from what exactly? Because if you can figure that out, if you can understand that concept, if she freed herself from something, so could you. What is it that everyone is so excited to liberate from? Everyone wants the peace. But what you don't ask yourself is what you must trade for it. God already gave. We have taught this in the first lesson. So there is nothing left to give, because it has already given everything to you. And we have said you only need to learn to accept this. Well, if you accept that, that means intrinsically you're letting something else go. May we inquire, if you've been going through the series, what your best guess that may be? God is the great exchanger. There is what you created. Look around your room. It is a reflection of your state of mind. And your state of mind is your awareness of the grace that is. It is there with you now, right now. What is right there will be there when you liberate. But you are not aware of it. You are not aware that it is there. And therein lies the issue. Because you don't know. But then again, awareness or consciousness is knowing. Knowing what? Knowing what God already created, which is you. And through that, the universe around you. It is all present. And in that present moment, all of it can be reached. But that sounds like a fairy tale, does it not? And the reason why it sounds like a fairy tale is because you haven't realized you must exchange something from it. So again, look around your room where you sit right now. Everything contains your perceptions. The TV that streams the shows you watch. There are thoughts and feelings about them. You have created something. All of that gives you an identity. The game station, the phone you use, the couch you sit on, the blinds that you have chosen, the window dressings or lack thereof. Everything is a reflection of a statement of what you think you are. And if what you think you are does not allow you to tap into what you know, it becomes clear what you must give up. All of that keeps you separate. I, he, she, they, them over there are all statements of separation. Mine, yours, theirs. Statements of separation. Your current political issues, separation. In extremes. The more separate, or the more the energy turns towards separation as expression, isn't it interesting in your history? A list gets created of who is to blame. And if it goes into more extreme than who is to blame, but tolerable, then it goes into who is to blame and must be held accountable. Phase 2. And if it goes more extreme into that, then it turns into who is accountable, who is to blame, and who must be punished. Stage 3. The cleansing. You are boiling towards stage 3 now. People are currently making plans to cleanse in your country. And we don't think that with the news that is such a offbeat statement. How do you not recognize the return of what happened in Germany manifesting now? And while it may not be the same, it will never be the same. Neither was the last massacre before that, nor was the one before that the same. All of the little minute details may be different. The point we are making is that it was caused by your belief in being separate. And that is a powerful statement. It was caused by you being separate. Did you catch the word? Being. You are always being something. The first adolescence, we taught this. You are always being something. Because when you look at your awareness, When you look at your consciousness, when you look at what is, you are aware of your pain caused by being separate, which is an act of fear. You know fear. Let us repeat that. You know fear. It is your being. And certainly not 100% of the time. Certainly you are sitting there saying, Na Thaiel, it certainly can't be that bad. No, I'm not afraid all the time. How many moments do you feel connected to everything? Where you are ready to embrace yourself and through that all others. As the saying goes, I should mark that one on the calendar because it becomes so rare. Something to remember. Each have had an experience of some sort of this, a moment. Maybe glossed over, but a moment just the same. Some it haunts. That moment of peace, they are meditating, and they have that moment of no body and just being. And then the noise begins. They don't know how they got there, so they don't know how to get back to it. And so it becomes a point of conversation, one that they repeat many times in fondness, in yearning. Do you know what we speak of? And so, being and knowing, we have described the higher self, that when you connect to that part of your mind which was already created, it is present now. Right now, where you are. And when you connect to it, you know peace. You know things you didn't know before. That knowingness can transform the way you perceive a certain person, place, or thing. And when it does, strange enough, you never think or feel about it the same way, do you? Now, isn't it interesting? We said knowing and being for that state of energy, but we also said about knowing separation and being afraid. It is what you know. Separation, being separate. We will pause. Sorry, folks, give me a second.